The Detroit Autorama is the premier custom, classic, and hot rod show. If you were there, I hope you enjoyed, and here's another look. If you missed it, well, there's always next year. And here's a peek at this year's show. It's the ultimate in professional-grade automobiles from all over the U.S. and Canada, with the coveted Riddler Award as the key prize. The award emphasizes creativity, engineering, and quality workmanship. One of the essential rules is the vehicle must make its first public showing at the Detroit Autorama. There are many beautiful automobiles spread out over 2 floors at Cobo Center, but there can only be one Riddler Award winner. And here is the 2017 prize winner, who takes home not only a trophy, but a check for $10,000. Here's a look at this year's winning car. A 1933 Altered Street Roadster. This car is all hand-formed, made of sheet metal. Everything about this beauty proclaims it's a very special car. This is the 65th consecutive annual Detroit Autorama. Mike Kohler is Autorama's logistics man.
Obviously, the show started out as a small thing that they put together to fund the drag strip up in Marine City, and then it's grown to this, where we've got almost 900 cars here.
This dragster was the first Riddler Award winner back in 1964. Here's that trophy from 1964. This is a completely redesigned and customized 1939 Cadillac by Foose. It looks like the kind of automobile driven by movie stars. Everything about this car was modified, turning a rather ordinary-looking 4-door sedan into this beautiful automobile with a removable hardtop. Among the Grade 8 finalists was this 1966 Corvette from Vermont. It was split right down the middle and widened 6 3/8 inches, creating the first true wide-body C2 supercar. Under the hood sits a 638 horsepower engine. Another finalist was this heavily modified 1941 Ford pickup. It's a golden treasure with its aluminum box and custom cab. Everything about this pickup is for show and go. Under the hood is a 239 8BA engine. Here is one very cool classic, a 1954 Corvette with upgrades and modifications. It may not be readily noticeable, but this car features a roof and windshield from a 56 Corvette. The interior is soft leather, and it's powered by a supercharged LS1 engine. There's plenty of detail work in this little beauty. Here is another Corvette, this one a 57. Don't let the soft yellow and white exterior of this classy little sports car fool you. It's well powered with a Cadillac LSA supercharged 556 horsepower engine. Like the previous Corvette we saw, it has leather seating and plenty of custom features. This 1960 T-Bird caught my eye. It's not just a pretty face, but Dennis's dream to own this model car since he was a teenager. It's funny how memories play a big part in the cars we own and treasure. One day he spotted the T-Bird while out driving and worked up the courage to approach the owner to make an offer. That was back in 2009.
I rode by and I'd come by again and I'd look at it again. Then I got enough nerve to go up to ask the guy, was it for sale or what he wanted with it? And he said, he asked me was I going to use it for a spare or what, because she was kind of rough. And he asked me did I want it. I said I want it. And I had a Mazda pickup that was a 4x4, and I yanked her out of there and took her home.
The interior is Jaguar saddle-tanned leather with a 5-speed manual transmission. Under the hood sits a 351 Windsor engine, blueprinted, balanced, and stroked to 408 cubic inches. It turns out 494 horsepower. The color is Bordeaux Reserve Red Metallic. Here's a 58 Chevy Impala, but it's not your basic 283 model. This car has been upgraded to a 376 LS3, turning out 430 horsepower. It also features a 6-speed manual transmission. There's a 1932 door, great paint on this car. It's also dressed up for show and go. There's a 1950 Chevy with mild customizing, and it has a 6-cylinder engine with 2 2s. You've likely seen this car before. It's a shortened up 1959 Imperial 2-seater. Imperials of this vintage are recognizable by their huge tail fins and gun-sight taillights. Here's a 1962 old Safari station wagon that may soon come under the auction block. It has a 5-speed manual transmission. Remember the AMC Gremlin? Funny-looking little car. You don't see many of them around anymore. But this 1971 model is far from the Gremlin you may recall. Richard is the owner of this 1946 Chevy pickup. A lot of heavy customizing went into this. The Chevy was bought in New York and sent back to Colorado for customizing. Plans were to make this a rat rod, but it turned into a custom. There's an unusual frame in this car. Like many, it has airbags. I spoke with Richard's friend Leon about that.
Comes up, as soon as you start it, it comes up to a preset driving level, and you can drop it. It'll drop about 2 more inches now, but we have lights under it. It's got a Ford rear end, Chrysler Hemi engine, because again, it was going to be a rat rod. And then he ends up here, and a lot of compliments, but he didn't get in the grade A.
Not all cars at Autorama were customs or vintage. There was a little bit of everything here, including motorcycles. And vintage motorcycles, like this 1929 Harley-Davidson. Carol brought along her 1976 Pacer. This car is completely stock, right down to its original interior. What custom show would be complete without a Batmobile? This Barris design turns up all over the country. There's a 1949 Cadillac. It appears to be restored to original condition. This was the first year for tail fins. It was a trend that would carry through right into the 1960s. Don't let the headlights fool you. This is actually a 1940 Ford Coupe. I talked with a guy who likes to be called Boogeyman, and he tells us about the restoration.
It's got a 44 Deluxe grille in it, but it's got 39 Ford headlights. Just because I like the way they flow back and keep the car flowing. The hood's been completely filled in and peaked up the center, so it has a slight peak in the center. The scoop's been put in the sides of the hood, just to enhance the body lines. All 4 fender wells have been changed. The front ones are 2.5 inches larger than stock. The back ones are 4 inches larger than stock.
Boogeyman did all the work at home in his own garage. Under the hood is a 2009 LS1 engine. Here's a look at a few more cars on the main floor. A 1955 Packard Clipper, a 58 Mercedes 190 SL, a 1955 Hudson. You know, only 435 of these Kaiser Darrins were produced to compete with European sports cars. They featured pocket doors, and all models had a 3-speed manual transmission with overdrive. They were underpowered with only a 6-cylinder 90-horsepower engine. Here's a 57 Nash Ambassador Custom. This was the last year of the Nash nameplate. Remember when the Jetson bubble tops were all the rage in customizing? Well, here's a car that brings back those memories. It's called the Baja Bandito. Let's go down now to the basement, away from all the glitz and glamour. This is where Autorama began all those years ago. Down here you'll find a little bit of everything that didn't make it onto the main floor. Let's have a look around. There's a 1931 Ford, a 57 Olds with spike hubcaps, a 63 Caddy with heavy metal flake. This is your basic rat rod, but a lot of work has gone into it. You never know what you'll find down here, like this 1943 M2 ambulance with a big diesel engine. Believe it or not, that's somebody's dream vehicle. Well, that's a look at the 2017 Detroit Autorama. It's been a whale of a show. So long for now. And come spring, we'll see you at the car shows and cruise nights.